From weathered back roads to the blazing edge of faith, this is where grit meets grace. Welcome to the place where truth ain't tame and stories burn brighter than the flame. This is the Gunpowder, Propane and Jesus podcast. Real talk, real calling, no polish, just purpose. Let's light it up.
Donnie, can we get your salvation story, your saved by grace moment?
It was when I was 15. I went there to play ball, but while I was there, some things just touched me and grabbed me, you know?
Yeah.
Like I said, my mom and dad weren't big on church. My mom's Catholic. She's from Germany. The only thing, her only request was that I got baptized, so I did. And still to this day, I think, should I do it again? Because did I do it for my mom or did I do it to obey? But so yeah, that was 15 years old in this little bitty country church. And yeah, I'm sitting there by myself and made the walk up front.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Baptism is it's a
outward expression of an
inward decision. So, I mean,
it is. And unless I'm wrong, correct me. But you know, traditionally you're supposed to get
fully submerged.
You'll get saved, yes, and then soon after you'll get as a
public profession
of your faith, you go get baptized. Well, my mom was like, I just want you to get baptized. Okay, I'll go back and get baptized. So I went back. So it's kind of been on my mind. Is that something I need to do again? You know,
if it's on your mind, it's probably there for a reason.
Do it, man.
You know,
we'll be there for you.
CT, if you're listening, we need to baptize Donnie Sunday.
He'll protect you a little bit better.
Can I come help? I want to hold him down.
CT will definitely hold me on a little longer.
He might get in the tub and sit on you.
You should don't bathe for 2 weeks before you do that.
Let's hear a question from Jordan. He's been sitting over there and ain't said nothing the whole time.
He's been still.
What's a piece of advice you'd give to men trying to follow Jesus in today's world?
Think about your response before you give it. And think about your response as why you're doing it. And I'll give you an example. One of the things coming back from Green Mountain, the missions trip, and CT and I talked about this at the golf course the other day. You know, one of the things they talk about is never denying him. You know, Peter did the deal where he said, you're going to deny me 3 times. And I told Aaron on the way back, I said, man, something's changed on this trip. You know, because I was like, I can't wait to get back. I'm gonna just chill at the house and probably pour me something adult and, you know, some adult cocktail and just chill. And on the way during that time there and seeing those people and sharing time with those people, and I came back, I'm like, I don't want anything to do with it. And I haven't. Now, what ends up happening is you disassociate yourself from your friend group. You maybe not disassociate yourself, but they start noticing. And when they notice, they ask you, why are you doing that? Are you on medicine or just don't want to? And I feel like if I'm going to say, yeah, I'm on a medicine or I just don't want to or whatever, I got to drive. And I'm not saying that I'm doing it because I want to be good to God or true to God, then I'm denying him.
That's right.
So that's what I would say in a long-winded answer. I would say if that's your heart, tell it, because you being brave enough and having enough courage to say why you're doing it might inspire somebody else.
That's your ministry.
Yep. Yeah.
It's like you said this morning, you know, everybody's got a way to serve.
Yeah.
That might be your way.
Can we talk about this morning?
Yeah, go ahead.
It was a great,
dude.
It was
spot on. Real.
Man.
I mean, it flowed right in with the praise report.
Mm-hmm.
Just being obedient.
And what's that young man's name again?
Braden Murphy.
I call him Donald Trump the fourth because I didn't know his name when I did that video.
Braden has an amazing heart. And he truly does have a touch of the Lord.
Yeah.
And a true calling on his life without a doubt.
Yeah.
He's one of the most well-spoken young men that when he talks, he's very clear and very passionate about what he says.
He intimidates me because he's almost like a.
Well, he does me too
man,
because he's the only person I know that might be better than Donnie at golf.
Really?
Well, and I was going to say, as a young man, you look at him and you think that's stoic, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But I mean, you know, he's what, 20, 21?
Yeah, I think he's 21.
But I mean,
he looks like he's 12.
He's very well spoken.
Oh, baby face.
He's quiet. When he says something, there's meaning behind it.
People listen.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then
he taught about your purpose for the Lord. You know, everybody's purpose is different. You may not be a Billy Graham or a C.T. Townsend or you may not be a Donnie May.
Yeah.
You know, but
You still got a calling.
that's right. Everybody's got a calling. You know, they always told us, God didn't call you to just sit on a church pew. You know, every day. And like Jason said out there this morning, every Walmart you go in, every gas station you go in, you got a chance to listen and be a witness to somebody.
Dude, and the Dodge Durango. Tell us about that.
So Patrick is one of our employees. He came to work here, I guess, a month ago, Jordan.
Yeah, something like that.
And
Great
he,
attitude, Patrick. First day I met him.
Oh, yeah.
Just a good
well,
guy.
I'm not going to lie. I was kind of nervous at first because I had heard Jordan talk about him in the past, about how he was arrogant and he had a little attitude. Gaddy, same thing, said the exact same thing about him. And from the first moment I met him, I was like, well, this isn't the same guy they were talking about.
Yeah.
You know, because he seemed, and even Jordan said after we left, he was like, man, he's a lot different than he was, you know. And I think he worked here, like 3 or 4 days. And
It was not long at all.
Yeah, it was literally like 3 or 4 days, and his car took a crap on him.
And he was actually borrowing that car so that he could work with us and could get around. And then rear end goes out.
Yeah.
As soon as he gets in with us.
And he's been trying, and just hiring extra people. I wasn't in the position to go do what we've done for several of the other guys here and help them get a car. And I couldn't afford it financially, so I said, well, let's pray about it, you know. And I know everybody here has been praying about it.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't even on the job site. It was 4 other guys that have been there at one time a couple months ago and then back this week to do something that was living their purpose for God. They were being good to these homeowners and witnessing them and actually sat down and prayed with them this week about their daughter who's going through alcoholism. And through all that and them being good, because that's what God has instructed us to be, and they followed exactly what God wanted to do for them or what God wanted them to do. When I went to check up after they were finished and talk to the homeowner.
Real quick, can I say they honestly learned that from the owner of this business, from you, man.
Well, they didn't learn it from me because they were Christians before they met me.
Well, they see you. They see Christ through you. You brought them guys together. You don't give yourself enough credit, but
it's because it's not anything I do. It's of the Lord. I prayed for it, and He's provided. You know.
Well, you're an instrument for the Lord. I just wanted to put that out there.
Well, thank you. I do appreciate the encouragement because some days it is hard.
That's what I keep trying to tell him. He's out here sowing seeds, whether he wants to take that credit or not.
But so in all that, you know, I was standing there with the homeowners, and she asked me a question, and she said, "Are all your guys in recovery?" And I kind of looked at her. I was a little puzzled. She's like, "No, I don't mean it as a bad thing." And then so that kind of eased the conversation a little bit.
No, they're all drug dealers.
Lock your doors. Hide all your valuables.
Your TV's going to be missing tonight.
That would have been good to know before you started.
But no, I said, you know, there's 2 of them in active recovery, and I know one of them has came through recovery years ago. I said, but they are great people. She said, no, I agree 100%. And she told me the story of them praying with her right then. You know, a lot of times we tell people we're going to pray for them and we forget or we don't do it, or, you know, and I'm just being honest because I do it a lot. You know, I'll tell somebody, but I found that if I'm going to tell you that I'll pray for you, I need to do it right then.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they did that. You know, they took that step for the Lord and did exactly what He put on their heart right then. And they prayed for the lady's daughter right then. And, man, it was a blessing to her. And so we just sat there and had a conversation. She was just bragging how good our guys are and how much they serve the Lord and how much the Lord shines through them. And we got to talking, and he was like, all right, I'm gonna get back to washing this old beater right here. Well, I said, what are you going to do with that car, man? He was like, we thought about selling it a while ago, and then we wasn't going to sell it. And he was like, just this morning, my wife decided she wanted a new truck, so we went and got a new truck. Now we're going to try to get something out of it. And I'm looking at this car, and I'm like,
it's a good looking.
It's an
Dodge
SUV
Durango.
now.
yeah, it's an older SUV, but it's been well taken care of. I mean, it's only got very few miles on it for its age, and The interior looks like nobody's ever sat in it.
Leather
drive.
seats.
Yeah,
with,
4-wheel drive,
Yeah.
AC. It's got the old cassette player in it. But I
Easy,
mean,
that's Donnie days
That's
now.
easy, man.
but
You're older than me.
That there 8-track.
You got a cassette, I got the 8-track.
Bruce had the old, what is it, the 45s?
He had
Hey, I still got some.
He had the phonograph that had the big horn that he like with that
All right,
brass
let's
phonograph.
Get that rap back
Off
on
the
track. So I got to talking to him about the car, and I said, "Well, are y'all going to sell it, right?" He's like, "Yeah." I said, "Well, what are you trying to get out of it?" And he gave me a number. I was like, "Hey, don't sell it." He said, "Why?" I said, "Because I've got an employee that desperately needs a car. It's a burden on him for trying to get to work, and it's a burden at his house on not having a car at home." And I said, for what you want for it, I can do it. I said, I can't buy it this week, and I may not all have it next week, but I can have it either next week or the week after, and I'll come back and get it then if you don't mind holding it. He's like, "No, we don't mind at all." He's like, we're just hoping we can get a little bit out of it. And I said, "Well, don't sell it." And he yelled at his wife and said, "Hey, Aaron wants to buy a truck for one of his employees." And she said, "That old thing?" And I was thinking, this thing's nice,
Maybe these people are on the sauce.
But no, so we agreed on a price, and I was thinking, man, that's great. We're going to be able to do something for this guy, and like I said this morning, I tried to step in and take the Lord's glory because, again, one of my spiritual gifts is giving. I love to give, and I love to see people happy, and I love to do for others, and that's part of my ministry is doing for others, and I love it.
I wish you'd give me a break on calling me at 5:30 a.m. Just let me
You
sleep a
told me to
little
call you at 5:30 a.m.
You're like a kid. You got to be woke up.
But anyway, so 5 minutes after I pulled out the driveway, my phone goes off, and I look at it, and just tears instantly started flowing. It was
You
like,
knew.
"Aaron, you don't have to buy the car. We're going to give it to him."
Nice.
And said, "We want to help you be the hands and feet of Jesus.
Mm.
And if we can spread Jesus in this way, then we'd be glad to do it." And man, it was a church service in my truck for about 5 minutes. And then I couldn't keep it in. So I told one of our other employees, and then I told Jordan. And, yesterday me and Jordan went and picked it up. And he said, when I pulled out, I was crying again in the truck, and he was crying in the truck behind me. And this morning it was hard to keep it together to be able to bless him with that, man. And to see it come to life, what God's doing in this little ministry with these guys.
Words
Yeah.
turn into physical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It helps guys that are struggling to think, well, I'm praying for this or I'm praying for that, and the Lord's not moving.
Yeah.
Oh, he is. You just have to keep at it.
Yeah.
So here's one of the things for me, and it's go to church and active at church and all that kind of stuff. But some of these guys over here at what we do on Friday mornings may not ever grace the doors of a church, right?
Yeah.
The church is just a building.
Right. So their outlook may be a little different. You got this big church or this little church, and they're stuck up, and they're uppity, and they're this and they're that. They think they're better than everybody else. But for them to be able to see actions from God's true people with like that this morning, with donating that car, that man's got a family. He's got a wife. He's got kids. That's somebody that's really struggling and needs help. And for him to know that there's real people, believers in Christ, that are willing to help somebody, because a lot of people look at it, well, that's no big deal. That's a huge deal.
Yeah.
He's going to the store to get food for his family. He's going to get diapers for his kids. He's going to work to be able to support them, all because that family gave him that car.
Yeah.
We had the guy, his best friend mom
Yeah.
was
She's been sick for decades.
they claim she was brain dead.
Yep.
And she's 100% better now.
Yeah, the one over there. Yeah.
We had the gentleman with his daughter here today. We've been praying for that relationship to come back together. And my buddy Joshua Johnson, shout out Johnson Tree Service. Man, he came over to my house, and I saw him, and my neighbor was like, "You got to get that tree removed, because if it falls on my house, we're going to sue you." So the first tree guy never
neighbor.
showed up. Yeah. Well, I understand where he's coming from. He had a tree fall on his house before Helene, and then he had trees fall on his house during Helene. So his insurance company was like, "You need to warn them."
He's
so
definitely
he
got PTSD from trees.
Yeah, he is not a tree guy no more. But you know, Joshua's in the neighborhood, man. I had no idea his story. You know, we got to talking. I always, you know me. I like to mess with dudes that look handsome because I feel so ugly
so
myself.
wrong.
I know it does. I know. So I was like, "You are the ugliest tree guy I have ever seen, man." You know, and he's a good looking dude. You know, sorry, I'm no homo, but I got my socks on too. So, but you know, he's married to this young lady. His wife's father is like the lead pastor at Grace up the road here.
Really?
Yeah. And he's been going to church. He I had no idea he wasn't saved, man. Like he just his outward appearance showed different, you know what I mean? And it's something that people struggle with, but you know, I just had no idea he'd been sober a year now today.
That's
the day
awesome.
he shows up, you know, and something, I don't know what it was, man. I was wanting to promote the new podcast. Shout out new podcast you listen now. And I don't know why I sent him our Gunpowder, Propane, and Jesus Men's Ministry page on Facebook. I sent them out to, you know, after I went through all my friends list, I had like 460 people, you know, selected. And I just sent them out, man. He was one of them. And, you know, he's like, "I appreciate you sending me this, man. I didn't know y'all did something like this, you know." And it was a blessing to have him here. He said he's going to come back. And
Men are hungry for fellowship with other men.
Yeah.
And to have that time with the Lord. And to know that there's other men that are doing the same thing.
I mean,
because nobody wants to do it alone.
And there's like a nationwide epidemic of male loneliness out there.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's sad. You know, you got men that are taking their lives because they just can't connect to anyone. You know, I almost did it a year ago.
Well, it goes back to what we were talking about. You know, you're not raised that way.
Yeah.
Nope.
You're raised to just suck it up and move on and deal with it. You know, and then when you get in your friend group, you fear being vulnerable because you're going to get a lot of grief for it.
Yeah.
You know?
don't know what they're going to do.
Like when you don't know how to operate your Timu mixer that you got from
or how
eBay.
you make grits on a steady basis.
Man.
Was a poor grit day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They were good, actually. I just wish I had a measuring cup. I wouldn't have been like a moody baby. I don't know why it ticked me off. So I think I was in a bad mood, man, because all the stuff I had like bought and prepared, like my metal like egg mixer was
that may
missing.
be in my house.
It better be, because if it ain't, I'm not coming next week.
If it ain't, it's at Jordan's house because he took him the first week.
If Haley's using my little
Haley
salad
might have
tossing
that.
metal thing, yeah, I need it back. Because that's the
I
only way I
remember
can.
seeing the measuring cup last week, but I didn't use it. And I definitely didn't take it home.
Okay, you're
Yeah,
bragging.
But I'll go buy you a new
It's
one.
gone.
No, I'll go to Goodwill and I'll buy a new one.
No, I'll buy you a new one.
forever.
I
Matter of
can't-
fact, I got $10 in my pocket. I'll give it to you.
What?
You owe that out already.
That you're giving
He's
hard.
standing at the window behind you, like
No, I got a
waiting
20
that
for him.
$10.
I got a 20 for
Is
that
at the
guy.
pay window.
Patrick gets a Dodge Durango. I get a $10 bill.
Hey, the Durango was none of my
Hey, the
doing.
Lord works in mysterious ways, John.
Yeah.
A blessing's a blessing.
That $10, you could go buy a scratch off and win $1 million. I mean, I don't know. That's right.
I'm gonna go buy a $10 toy.
See, the Lord's working on you
I'm
now.
gonna go buy a $10 toy gun and rob a bank with it. Aaron
Oh,
gave
my
me the $10.
We're getting canceled.
No, we won't get canceled.
We are getting
We only have
canceled.
62 people listening to this podcast, and none of them
It
run
just
a
went
bank.
to 60.
Yeah,
So-
but before we went on to that spiel about the blessings and all, Donnie's point is something that Aaron has been preaching to me over and over. Like, respond, don't react. And that's huge because I've seen it in myself, just growth,
Oh, yeah.
taking that time to not blow up and say the first thing that comes to mind and instead thinking about it. And yeah, that's huge advice.
It really is, you know, and it's harmed relationships of mine and probably burned a bridge or two from being reactive and not taking a minute. And the problem's still going to be there,
Right.
Yeah.
you know? So, you know, we all carry all this stuff on our shoulders. And then if something doesn't go right the way you want it to go, or somebody doesn't do it the way you want them to do it, and you just let it all out, there's no, it's like, you know, it's like the toothpaste. There's no way of getting it back in the tube. You know,
That's right.
the words are gone. So yeah, taking a minute and just taking a minute and thinking about it, and then saying what you got on your mind. You know, it's it goes a long way.
And chances are, 90% of the time, you're going to feel different about it tomorrow than you do right now.
Right.
And half the time, it's not going to be near as big of a deal. So, like I say, that was good advice.
Yeah. Then the next day, you got to tuck your tail between your legs and go apologize.
Yeah.
And that stings
And that's
too.
twice as hard.
Yeah. Well, one of my mentors, he taught here a couple weeks ago, Keith Finch is the one that gave me that years ago about, respond to react. Reaction is an emotion. Like as soon as you get mad and you want to yell at somebody, that's reacting. And, the proper response is, to take a minute, pray about it, seek counsel. I know in Proverbs, I've been reading a proverb every day, but the verse, I can't remember exactly how it goes, but, it says, seeking counsel, you'll be a wise man, and not hashing out. But I had another buddy that was a pastor for a while, and he always told me, when decisions have to be made, it took the creator of the world 3 days to get out of the grave. What's it going to hurt me to take 3 days to pray and make a decision?
That's good.
It's just a couple of rules that I really try to live by that have really helped me, because much like Jordan, when I was younger and stupid, I would lash out.
Did he just call you young and stupid?
Did you hear that too?
No. I said when I was younger and stupid, he
Like
just called
Jordan.
Jordan's a married man now. You show him
you missed the
respect.
conversation, Bruce. He just said that he's had growth because he's not reacting, he's responding. But I was the same way. When I was younger, I would quick to react, jump off and yell at somebody and cuss them and tell them what they wasn't worth. But now everybody goes through a different walk every day. Like I don't know what John deals with at home, and I don't know what Donnie deals with when he gets off the phone with me in the afternoon, or Jordan or Bruce. You could have had a terrible night at the house, and you bring that in, and if I react and just jump on you, it's just going to make it 10 times worse
for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it ain't good for me. It ain't good for them. And that's why I say you may be the only Jesus somebody sees today.
True.
That's one of the reasons why I do it.
Donnie, let me ask you this, and
you got a grin on your face.
and we can bypass it. We both shared the similar deal here in the recent past. So, if you would just elaborate on that and tell us, what's the Lord doing to help you get through that? And
that's one of the things I'm really, since the mission trip, and a lot of things pivoted off that mission trip.
Yeah.
But
it was a good mission trip.
It was. And to your point, Bruce, there's a lot of things that, they say the closer you get to God, the more under attack you become.
Yep.
And which is so, counterintuitive. And, you're like, man, I'm all right. I gave this up. It says, if I take one step to you, you'll come the rest of the way. Where are you at?
Hey, dog, come on.
Yeah. You just leaving me hanging here, but everything's in God's time. My daughter and I had this discussion the other day, and she's like, well, I prayed for this. I'm like, no, still an answer. It might not be the right time. It might not be this. So to your point, yeah, it's been a struggle since the partners I had were bought out, which when they were bought out, that eliminated my position. So I've just been trying to keep my head up and keep moving and keep trusting God that things are going to happen and doors are going to open, and things are starting to happen. Things are starting to move. I read every day, like all you guys do. I read a chapter, I read a devotion. My wife and I read a devotion together, and a lot of times it'll have something in there that tells you, it's not time yet. It's not time yet. Keep going. It's not time yet. But we all want immediate gratification. We want, I did this, you do this.
Religion.
The transactional deal. Hey, I did this, you do this. I need my break. I need that phone to ring with that job offer. So it's definitely a test going through it, walking through the valley. And I know you're experiencing a lot of the same thing.
Yeah. It's, and I've said it before, it's with everything going on, there's worry. Where in the old job, I was covered in stress. Now I don't have that stress. I just have a little bit of worry. Mm-hmm. And that's just human nature, but it's just, I don't know. I guess that's what I look at to kind of ease my mind. is I'm not filled with stress. You know, I don't wake up in the middle of the night anymore like I used to, worrying about a customer, a client, employee, or a situation, or it's just so much easier.
It is, and it's recalibrating is a real good way to put it, because it really adjusts your thinking from, everything going great to all of a sudden the phone rings and essentially the world, it comes to an end. At least your means of financial income, your means of financial freedom come to an end. And then you're kind of forced to lean on somebody.
Yeah.
I think that's, you said a second ago, John, mysterious ways. That's a mysterious one to me, and it's worked because
I think sometimes when the Lord is trying to get you to be closer to Him, and we as humans, we won't get all the way in because we're, like you said, we're men, we can handle it, we can push through it. Sometimes He takes things from us to bring us closer to Him, to get us to where He wants us to be, so He can bless us. Because I know there's times in my life where, people can say what they want. The Lord blessed me with a pretty substantial amount of money a few years ago, and had He blessed me with it when I was 21 or 22, it wouldn't have been good.
Right.
Gone.
Now it's all gone now, but at the time, it helped my family get started. It put me on the right track, and He changed my direction with it for sure. But He knew at the time that I wouldn't have been able to handle it, so he pulled me through a season of life, and then He knew I'm not gonna say I was 100% ready for it, because, I was still kind of young, but I had a family, and we used it all for the good of our family. Yeah. We was able to bless some other people too. And, but there's times in your life where you may be ready, that you think you're ready, but He knows we're not ready. So he'll hold out, and He'll pull what He needs from us, and, get us in that season to where He's getting us ready for it. So there's a time coming. When hard times come, before you were saved or before you were close to God, it was hard. But now that you are closer, it's still hard, but it's a lot easier than what it would be without Him.
I agree 100%. It's a lot easier than it would be without Him, but also there's I've had some talks going down the road too. It's not always, dear Lord, protect me, and I know you're doing something. It's, dear Lord, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like have an opportunity presented to you and only to have it snatched away.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, that can't be you, right?
That's right. And that was the old saying, when the Lord starts blessing, the devil starts messing.
Yeah.
So when you start turning your stuff over in your life that you didn't want to deal with no more, because you want to be closer to God, the devil starts attacking you.
Well, they say if you're on the right track, the devil's on your back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah, I'm feeling it. Absolutely.
Yeah. But you got a group of men, and you're involved in this ministry right here pretty heavily now. You're here every Friday morning at 6:00. Me and you talk daily. You send me stuff that encourages me. That's what we're here for. We're here to bear each other's burdens and help each other out.
And you and I talked about that last week. I'm not the guy that gets up in front of, much less people I have a relationship with, people I don't know, and say everything that's going on. It's just, I'm still trying to cross that hurdle. But it's
I tell you what, we told Donnie to pray a couple weeks ago. I thought he was going to start preaching. I was like, good Lord.
He broke it out.
He did.
I know one thing I was reading last night about men.
Somebody's phone is ringing.
Jordan, way to go. Now I got to edit that out. Is that the Board of Education again?
No, he got that handled. He got married.
He got that married.
Sorry, guys. We're still a fully functioning business, and we have to step out from time to time.
Oh yeah. So one thing I learned about being a man and trying not to react and trying to find peace in situations. Is it an anagram when it's like letters that mean something? I don't know.
That's above my pay grade.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I want y'all to remember this. Just keep it in your brain. When you start feeling that temptation to react, just remember HALT BS. Now here's where it goes deep. Okay. HALT BS stands for when you're hungry, when you're angry, when you're lonely, when you're tired, when you're bored, or when you're, what's the S stand for? Stressed. Yeah. So you can, a lot of times you can channel that reaction if you know you're one of those things. And I'm always an H. I'm always hungry. I am always hungry, man.
Angry.
But that's been
Angry.
That's been helping me try to figure out why I'm in that mood. I think this morning I was a definite H.
You was
I
hungry?
was hungry, man.
You should have been eating grits while you was over there messing them up.
I didn't touch them grits, man. Why you
Burnt that
so
sausage?
mean? Oh my Lord. So yeah, I just want to throw that in there because y'all were talking a lot and I didn't say nothing.
It not only does the respond react help me in my everyday out and dealing with public, but it helps me at home too. Because if I get mouthy with my wife, she's gonna punch me.
Angie's scary, man.
Yeah.
Angie, I took a picture of Angie one time at Arise, man. And she, like, at first I was like, this is going to be a secret picture. She ain't going to know it. But man, she knew. And she snapped them eyes at me, man. I was like, oh, Lord.
That woman's got looks that can kill.
Good
She gave you that
Lord.
resting Baptist face.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, and remember, the smoke may settle, but the embers stay lit. This was the Gunpowder, Propane, and Jesus podcast. Stay tuned for the next part of this episode.